You think say you sabi Naija music? Old school or new school? Come show yourself for Gusto Gets the Song. You go win better. Call the number wey dey appear for your screen so. Naija music come win money.
Hello guys, welcome to Gusto Reactions. Once again, thank you so much for all this liking, sharing, subscribing, telling your friends about what we do right at Gusto TV. Big Lala is right here. Lala, you're welcome. I told you the other day that I was going to bring you back here where we're discussing about the whole Badboy Timz, label issues and all of that. And I've got to make a couple of research, and I found that
I did not share with you.
of course not.
Oh, yeah.
So I found out a couple of things. I mean, artists, record labels, there's always an issue and everything. Would it be a bad idea if an artist leaves a record label without any sort of issue?
No,
especially in Nigeria.
It won't be a problem now. We've seen several incidences of where artists leave labels amicably with no fights.
It seems to be more of the
other side
than
it's just because most of these artists they don't look at the future when they sign. They only look at now, and it's not something that is only peculiar to the Nigerian industry. Yeah. It's worldwide. There's quite a lot. I mean, in SA, the person who sang the biggest song last year in South Africa has not received a dime from the label. He has not received a dime. Jerusalem.
Yeah,
the dude came up with a press release yesterday. He's not received a dime from the song, and I foresaw. I don't like
KG.
Yeah, and it wasn't like I foresaw, right? But I was suspecting something like that was going to happen because there were two versions of the video being put on two different YouTube pages back then. That was last year, so it happens. It happens everywhere.
Okay, so back to Nigeria, back home, Badboy Timz, of course, we discussed that one.
Yeah.
Last week, some days ago, and of course, this guy has been quite. He's been silent. He's not been able to release new music. I will talk about what exactly is happening with him.
Yeah.
Lala, you seem to be on the side of the artist the other time when we came here.
Was I?
Yes. Now I'm going to quote you. What you said. You talked about the fact that if artists sign contracts and all of that, and if their stock has risen, there's nothing bad in them renegotiating the contract.
Yes.
And I'm asking, what if the label does not want to renegotiate and want that contract to elapse?
It's an unfortunate scenario if that happens, because then you don't have a disgruntled artist who's not happy, and you want him to produce optimally. He won't. I mean, happy employees give you more productivity. The artist is an employee of the label. Right? If he's not happy under your label, if you don't make him as happy as possible, as comfortable as possible, he's not going to be effective.
They're always very happy when they sign all of this. I mean, this Badboy Timz signing his contract at that
first time I'm seeing this picture.
And I mean, I've seen this before, and I was like, okay, this when the going was good. And then
this is anonymous, have you?
Yes. And then it turned really sour. And look at everything with the police handcuffs and everything, saying it defrauded the label.
Yeah.
Kiss Daniel and G Worldwide also had the same issue. Vector YSG,
yes.
Kiss Daniel, G Worldwide also had the same issue. Brymo and Audu, Maikori also had the same issue. Look at everywhere in a press statement, everywhere. Even for Vector, everybody putting out a lot of.
But things. This Brymo, and it was just this guy. Like this is Brymo now.
Yeah,
Agidipo, because it was like Umbano. I know I signed it though, but no, I don't do it again. In the end, they just had to just let him be. It wasn't like he was right and they let him be. That wasn't the case.
Which artist is ever right?
It's always two ways now. The artists sign before they get the deal. You know how they are now. Before they get the deal, after they've gotten the deal and the label has spent money, publicity, everything, and they're now known in the industry, having associated with such a label. Are we? All of a sudden, it's standard. It's normal. They now start feeling big and be like, oh. At least they should be that popular and things like that, and they try to do more than they're meant to do. So in this was a case of, at the end of the day, I think they just play the bigger person and just let him go.
Do you think that as labels who have invested in an artist and want to recoup, an artist grows a bit big and everything, and he says he wants to negotiate or renegotiate for a higher percentage or something.
Yeah.
And the label has not finished recouping whatever they've spent on him. Should the label finish should they finish getting all their money back, or they should renegotiate with the artist and probably just get like a 50-50 with the artist? Would it be fair on the label?
I think the label, if they reject, they are within their rights. But if you want to have the best of relationships, right, between you and your partners and your artists, these sort of situations will come up, and one person will make a demand. Usually, obviously, the label, because they are spending a lot, when it comes to earnings, they take a bulk of it, and it's because they spend a lot. In a situation where they have recouped and they're eating well, there's no issues, and the artist demands a renegotiation, it is only right. Nobody's talking about what is legally signed. It's within their right to do that, but it only makes sense to keep your artist happy as a raise for doing such a good job. That means giving you hit songs that you are pushing, you are promoting, and it's making more money for the label, for the company. It's standard across board. The same way, I always use football a lot, because when you sign an unknown player, right, and he starts playing for you and he's performing well, he's winning awards, he's being highest goal scorer and all those things, they don't wait till the end of the contract before asking the club for a new deal. They don't. 2 years or maybe even a year, if they perform so well, if they perform so well, they'll be like, look at what I'm able to do, and I feel I should be rewarded accordingly. So if artists...
But that always happens with a contract extension.
No, with a contract extension, but a pay increase.
Yeah, a pay increase.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, if the player does really well and everything, and then he wants a pay increase, there's another, like the tier of that contract. They do another one.
Yeah,
probably just
same thing can be done. Same thing can be done with music. If you sign a 3-year deal, right, or a 2-album deal, and your first album sells a lot, and you be like, oh, you want to do this, but you can add an extra album to it, I don't mind, but I want to be recouped. You get something like that. It's doable. It's within their right. They can do it, but I just want people not to have the sort of mindset that, oh, you signed the contract, then it should be like that to the end. Obviously, you are going to have a disgruntled player. It's not going to perform optimally. So it makes sense if someone requests to be compensated for his work, right? Largely for what he has done. It's not, nobody says it's down to the artist. It's a combination of effort from the label and the artist. So if the artist now comes and says, oh, now that we are eating good, compared to last year, I'm getting shows every week, I'm earning so and so, you guys are making so much money, and it only makes sense if I can get a new contract. And if you say, okay, fine, we'll give you a new contract and we would extend it by maybe 1 year or 2 years. If he agrees, fine. If he doesn't agree, then he knows that, okay, until the contract finishes.
What if it's the other way around, Lola? Like, what if the other way around, where, the artist does not blow and label, keep spending money for 2, 3, 4 years.
Yeah.
And the label wants to leave, like, you want to let the artist go. They say, no, our contract is not up yet. We have to finish it, maybe.
No. Usually, in this contract, there is termination clauses, right? Yeah. Sometimes some lawyers are smart. They'll be like, oh, the label reserves the right to terminate this agreement if so and so if they feel it is not commercially viable, something. Yeah. They can include that in the contract. If that's in the contract, that means that's a way out for them. If they see like, oh man, we've spent so much money and nothing is happening. You get? There's also a way out. Usually, artists don't bring their lawyers on board. There's always a way out for the artist as well. If they say, oh, if so and so, this is the way out Badboy Timz wanted to use. He goes, there was a breach of contract. And the thing is, there was nobody to prove the breach of contract between him and Anonymous. Yes. If it was proven that there's a breach of contract, then he has every right to leave the label. Yeah. You can't just bring up a flimsy excuse. It has to be something that is generally acceptable as, oh, maybe in the court of law says that it is a breach of contract. So that's how it is usually. It's not like the label can't say they want to leave. Of course, they can leave it. Most labels will give you what? Maybe 2 project deals, or they give you 2-3 years deal and things like that. They don't give you 5 or 6 years. Some people, they see that, oh, this guy really get, maybe like, for example, maybe I don't know which kind of deal, don't just the Prince has a Rema. But if he really believed in Rema, and he gave Rema, let's say, 10-year deal.
Yeah.
I don't know. But then that one go hard because there's no way the guy won't even factor in the what's it called? It won't factor in how much the guy is going to be worth in a few years, because he has to factor that in. And then there's no way that they won't know that, oh, this guy will ask for a raise in the future. And if they're making more money in the future, then it makes more sense to share with the artists. So.
Also, before we go in all of this, who do you think have always been the biggest losers and the biggest winners in this whole, artist label brouhaha and everything?
Well, it can go two ways.
Which way has it gone?
The most in Nigeria. I mean, there's quite a lot of labels who spend a lot, and they never get to, because Nigeria is such a peculiar place when it comes to promoting music.
Yeah,
you shell out enough because the market to make the money. For example, the streaming market is not as big as it should, considering our population. Yeah, if that is as big and artists are eating well from streaming money and from all these sync licenses and everything, it will make sense for the label. They wouldn't mind. But in Nigeria, before you break even, you must be like a B or C list artist. Yeah. Before you start breaking and making some decent money for you and your label. So in most cases, the label loses a lot more than the artist. The only time the artist loses is, for example, when the label be like, this is your old content that is you
can't use them.
You only be on the same deal that you signed. The masters is co-owned by the label and things like that.
Exactly.
So it happens.
Anyways, guys, let's have your thoughts on that one artist versus label, the whole brouhaha in Nigeria. Of course, never ending. Every now and then you have labels and artists doing the Glasgow's, Vector, YSG, Runtown versus Eric Mani. Yes, you had Brymo and of course Chocolate City. Even Wizkid with EMA wanted to do some, and they had to just calm everything out. Don't worry. Just let's
finish. Let's finish up the.
Finished up your album
and that was it. Amicably,
very amicably at that time. He wanted to leave before the album, but he said, "God, no, calm down,
chill down, finish."
Anyways, guys, Badboy Timz, is the one actually brought up this whole discussion all over again. Let's have your thoughts on that one, and of course, we'll see you on the next one. Peace.